Hello world, Wednesday, May 7th, 2014. This is the Odin Project and Agile Ventures weekly Scrum meeting where we talk about development work on the Odin Project and any other Agile Ventures projects that people are interested in talking about. And basically go a little bit more in-depth than we do on the daily Scrums in theory, and get into some of the stories that we're working on and things like that. And just get a chance to talk about development on this project, and of course, sidetrack into development in general. So here we are. In terms of news, usually start out with project news. We don't have a whole lot of new stuff this past week. I'll be putting up some unobtrusive ads on the project to point to this other thing that I've been working on in the next day or so. So I think that's news. But looking at the pivotal tracker, when I just share the pivotal tracker, since of course that's where we live. Hopefully my computer won't freak out too much, which it always does anyways. Okay, so now I have a screen share, and for you guys who aren't there right now, I'll post the link in the chat. You can see what we have going on. I've been hoping to see Bill actually at these meetings, and so basically the way that I would usually structure this is kind of say like, hey, like let's just go over any of the news items, like anything that's new on the project, and then start to look into like individual stories that are currently being worked on, and then talk a little bit more broadly about stories that we could be working on in the future. And then finish off with more specifically, like seeing, like who wants to take what, and what basically, tactically speaking, like what are the things that we kind of want to get done in the next week or so. So before we start, do any of you guys have any questions or newsy type stuff?
I don't think so.
No.
I had issues today with pull requests or working on the Git side of things. I couldn't. There was. I was trying to push something like that, and it was throwing an error that I never figured out. So I gave up and just worked on some code.
All right. Well, maybe we could help out with that a little bit later once we get into the more specific stuff. Cool. Well, let me just walk through the existing stories here on the pivotal tracker. Starts to feel a little bit familiar from week to week, just because we haven't had a whole lot of time to throw at stuff. I was hoping that Bill would be here so that we could talk about the exception tracking, and basically the idea of that was to get better understanding of like what kinds of exceptions the projects are throwing. So like if any users are getting a whole bunch of 404 pages or things like that, then I want to try and understand more about like what those errors are, where they're coming from, and stuff like that. So Bill was actually he went off and he looked at a whole bunch of stuff, as you can see on the activity log here, and he did an awesome job looking into all these different products that in their own way, they give you a look at the exceptions that your application is throwing, which is cool. It's great information. The problem is a lot of them are actually pretty expensive, and or they require a fair bit of involvement in terms of effort and upkeep. So basically what I wanted to talk to Bill about, but I guess I'll just say anyways, is that I think I'd, at this point, rather just stick with what we have already, which we have New Relic, which is an application. It's kind of an everything, but it's basically an application tracking service, so that it shows you like how many requests are coming into your application, why are they taking as long as they are, and then they also have a monitoring service that sends you emails if your application is down. So it's really helpful stuff. I felt like they didn't really go as far as I was hoping with some of the error tracking services, which is why we looked into some other stuff. But at this point, I think I'd rather just stick with New Relic than try and dive into anything new.
Well, so is there something that you need, or that you need us to do in terms of kind of exploring how to use New Relic better? or are we ready to kind of close out that story, or where would you like to go with it from here?
Well, that particular story, I'm thinking of just closing it out, but I wanted to talk to Bill because he's the story owner there.
Right.
Get his kind of his final opinion on it. But my inclination is to close out the story and say it'd be great if, but it's just not something that we can devote the time that we need and the money that we need.
Right. Okay.
So then, do you have any other questions on the story?
Nope, not for me.
Okay. So the other one was sharing buttons, which we've talked about a little bit, which is just getting these social sharing buttons at the bottom of each lesson so that, if you find it helpful, you can spread the word, because that's most of how the project grows, is people tell their friends, or, they go to meetups and they say, hey, this Odin project thing is pretty good. So, we want to try and encourage that as much as possible so that we can help people share. And so Ian was working on some social sharing stuff, and he just kind of came back on the grid yesterday. So I think he might be looking to finish these up. So that story is currently in progress. It's in his wheelhouse, and I guess we'll see what he does with that.
Cool.
Site-wide search with Afshin. We were talking about this quite a bit yesterday, and it looks like we're basically there. Just got to kind of prune some of the tests, and then we're good to go. So that one is pretty much set to go. I'm just waiting on Afshin to submit the final pull request and then go over that. So we're going to have site-wide search, which is one of our most requested features right now. It's just because people kind of get lost. They remember that they saw something, but they don't know where it was, and so they have to go poking through it. I totally agree. We should have site-wide search. Afshin's been building it. So then, let's see, we have the progress tracking widget. So that's a fun little guy. Where is that? Where did I put that? Well, I guess I won't. Sorry, oh, here we go. Here's the mock-up for that one. And the idea of that is to have sort of a little sidebar widget on the right side that tells you how many people have completed the current lesson, and then how many people are currently working on that lesson, and then ultimately that's meant to start becoming something where you'll be able to interact with those people who are currently on the lesson to try and get people to help out with each other. So Nathan was working on that. He kind of got a version 1 up, and then we ran out of time. So hopefully when he circles back here, we'll be able to work on this and continue, because it's kind of a nifty little tool. But so right now, progress on that one I think is slowed down. I'm just waiting on Nathan. So this has been my ball and chain for ages. Has been replacing the icons on the home page. No progress to report on that one. Add email confirmation on sign up. We can do that, and we'll talk about that one quite a bit, I think, in just a sec.
Okay.
So let me hang on to that. Which was the user accounts cleanup profile page. So we have no one on that one. So actually,
that was me. I don't know why my name's not up there. I was working on that today.
Oh. All right. Well, actually, why don't we? Okay. So the profile page, what have you been doing with that?
I can show you real quick. I was working on it just before we signed up. It's kind of bad because I'm halfway in the middle of working on something. I guess I'll screen share here. Oh, and there was something that I read elsewhere on the website. It had something to do with an unobtrusive. I got rid of that big LinkedIn button or GitHub button, and I made this a table. That stylized, changed the hover effects, and then this is the link to GitHub. That's just like an icon with that. And that's, I just started, but I was just toying around with that.
Okay.
And then, like I said, I read somewhere about unobtrusive nav bar. So I got rid of the black nav bar, and then I changed the hover effects on this. And actually, I think maybe this is what we were talking about the other day. See, now you can log in or sign up, so you don't have to sign up in the login page. And they both, like, log in will take you to log in, and then sign up takes you to the sign up page.
Well, okay, so I think the profile stuff is interesting. I'm much more hesitant to start messing with the nav bar on the home page.
Okay.
The nav bar story is actually very specifically pointed towards, and so just to give people, why don't I just show that in my screen? Where's that nav bar story?
Alright, let me get off of this.
Somewhere. Unobtrusive nav bar, so it's all the way down here. So the idea of that was actually when you're in a lesson to have, so like here I am, I'm in a lesson, as I scroll down to basically have the nav bar kind of collapse and go hide off to one side and be unobtrusive. I have a very specific idea for what I want to do with that.
Okay.
So
I was just browsing the site and toying with things.
Yeah, no. I mean, that's totally cool. Before diving into that story, though, I definitely want to have some input on what the look and feel of it is, because I have a pretty strong opinion about what that should be. And like I said, you should. And on the homepage, I mean, for right now, I'd prefer actually not to mess with the nav bar at all. I know there's that whole like login, sign up, sign out. Sorry, login or sign up, which I think if I log it out here, curriculum login, sign up. I think it would actually make sense to add a sign up there. Like I don't think that's too big of a deal. If that's something that you want to do there, and you're right, I think the highlighting could also probably benefit from being lighter. If you want to do that, I'd say definitely submit it, like keep it separate from the other changes that you're doing, and submit that as its own pull request.
Okay.
Because I don't want to get like the profile changes like mixed up with the navbar changes. Like I'd prefer to be able to just like say yes or no to like very specific tactical pull requests.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's actually what I was learning today. Working was like there's a lot to be done, and I don't even really know where to begin.
Yeah, and so that's definitely one of the advantages of like sort of enforcing a disciplined Git workflow is that it kind of forces you to think in terms of like which specific tiny little piece of the feature am I working on at any given time, and then like how can I organize those properly?
Yeah,
because it's like as soon as you and like I definitely still have to like fight against the habit of like working on one thing and then remembering or like finding something cool that I want to change to, and then trying to change that, and then basically you have then you just have a bunch of work that's completely unrelated to each other, and especially if you're on a topic branch, it's like no, the best thing to do is really just to write that on a sheet of paper off to one side and say I'll get to that later. Because again, otherwise you have to submit it as a pull request, and then it's just like the world's muddiest pull request, and I'm just going to pull out my hair and panic.
Yeah.
Can you video
I'll write that in my
journal.
You guys get to see it live. Yeah, but okay. So, can you jump back to the profile page? I want to take a look at that.
Yes. Let me get back. Oh, my bad.
So yeah, in this description of the story, you can also see that one of the ideas is to actually remove information too.
Okay.
And because, like, honestly, no one uses, like, what's your screen hero ID or what's your, I don't even remember what all the profile fields that we have, but we have too many.
Right.
Yeah, we have GitHub, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. It's like, we don't need any of those except GitHub. That's it.
Okay, something else that I wanted to do was just get rid of this button and put it under the profile picture as well.
Uh-huh.
I mean, in my personal mind, it's kind of cluttered because you're trying to see info and you just have a button.
Yeah. Of course, that only shows up on your profile.
That's
shouldn't
true.
show up on anyone else's. So the other thing that's actually worth noting is that if you end up removing fields, like if you end up getting rid of the GitHub, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, you also have to get rid of them on the edit. So because when you hit edit, it kind of mimics.
Yeah,
the
that's
same
another
layout.
thing. I like this here, but when you edit it, I just found out that it messes up with that.
So I mean, you could definitely style it such that pops out. Because right now it looks like it's absolutely positioned. I don't remember exactly how I positioned it.
That's what I was doing when I signed in. I was trying to find the styling, and I was thinking about I put just for kicks I put this in a div so that I could put some padding between the image, but it said when I looked it up. In the element, I didn't really understand. That's a style sheet that would have to be created separately, right? Just to move a div that I added.
The user agent style sheet is actually that's actually your default browser style sheet.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought, and is it in here somewhere? Just application CSS?
No, no. I mean, user agent style sheet is like Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox.
Okay.
So
Oh.
that's basically if you didn't override any styles, that's what the default styles would look like.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, I don't know where to edit that so I can put some padding on it.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can't edit the user agent style sheet, but I mean you shouldn't either. I mean you shouldn't need to because you should be able to just override it with other classes or other more specificity.
Okay.
But yeah, so if you are going to do it, if you are going to dive into this some more, then you will definitely need to remove the edit fields as well. And then in addition, you're going to need to update the tests because there's a bunch of tests that say, hey, is there a Google profile link? Is there some other link, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
So, just a heads up on that. But yeah, I mean, this profile page is just hideously ugly.
I thought I did well with the little table because all my capstone projects for Block ended up with tables, so I've gotten pretty familiar with them.
Now, how does this work in mobile?
Then you could pay.
Oh,
like on a phone or something?
Yeah. That's one of the few reasons to actually use Bootstrap that I see. is it's very mobile friendly.
I don't know. Is this set to fluid or? Oh, that's not too bad.
Just it has breakpoints, so it kind of snaps into mobile mode once you get too close. Anyways, I don't think that affects your tables at all. Okay, so that's the redesign. We'll save the nav bar. That's another student's progress widget. All right. Abby, what do you have going on?
Right. So, I can talk through the code, or I can just sort of demo what it looks like, and that might be the most helpful thing to do first.
Yeah, I think the demo to see what it looks like is usually the best.
Okay, so I've got not there. Localhost up and running. Go ahead and log this person out. And so at this point, go ahead and sign up for a new account. And
How did you know my email address?
Again.
oh, lucky.
All my alias websites.
All right, so it goes ahead and sends this lovely welcome email. And the first item there is confirm your email. And then if you click there, yay, your account was successfully confirmed. Yeah, that word, you're now signed in. So that's that was one piece. Your account is confirmed. So that was one of the pieces of it for new users, that they would get that email and that the token would be integrated in, so we could just send one nice, neat email.
That's awesome. I'm glad you figured that out.
Yeah. About an hour this evening, and it was done. So then the other piece of it was, of course, users who had previously signed in, and let's switch back to this because it's less messy. Users who had previously signed up before email confirmation was required, and we wanted them to have continued access to the site so they wouldn't be blocked, but at the same time get that lovely flash message every time they log in that says, hey, confirm your email. So I obviously can't create a new user before I do all of that, so I'm just going to go ahead and modify Grace 5 really quick here. So I'm going to go ahead and set her confirmed at is nil, and I added this column to the database, registered before confirmation, so that we could mark those people who had signed up before. So I'm just manually marking her as not being confirmed and as somebody who had signed up before confirmation was required. So then if I go ahead and now I'm Grace and I'm coming back, Grace 5, and so now when she logs in, no, this was so working 3 minutes ago. Oh, you know what? I probably didn't set her right in.
You did.
So that is no.
Oh no, you didn't set them before conf.
Oh, thank you. Equals true. That's what I needed to do. Okay, let's try that again.
I suppose in theory we don't even need the database column.
Oh, if we just snagged everybody? Well, I'll show you what I did with that behind the scenes.
Well, I mean, I guess you could use like an if statement that just says if before, like May 13th or something. That would be dependent on the go-live date.
That's true. That would have worked too. Okay, so now Grace logs in and she gets this flash message up here, which is actually a flash partial, which is something I learned about. I didn't know you could do that. That was kind of cool.
A flash partial? What's that?
Yeah. Instead of rendering, just because I wanted this to be a link, which is kind of difficult to do just in a regular flash message, you can do a flash partial, which is obviously a partial, and then you can have links or bullet points or whatever you want to in there. So it gets this message, please confirm your email address, and then didn't receive confirmation instructions or need them again. And honestly, if they're seeing this for the first time, they didn't receive the confirmation instructions. But now if they click, it sends them this email. And this is actually a very lightly modified version of Devise's general email that they send for confirmations, but theirs is totally vanilla. So I just added this, thanks for being part of the Odin project. Please confirm your account. And then if you have any questions, FAQs, and Eric, I signed your name down there.
Whoa.
I know sure there's legal things
There probably are. And I threw the Odin.
I'm sure Eric has a great lawyer.
Yeah,
Right, so.
the Almighty himself, Almighty Odin.
So now if you hit that link, your account was successfully confirmed. You are now signed in. Yay! And it
It's sort of
appears
weird that it goes from you are now signed in into like the sign-in page.
That is very weird.
So are you actually signed in? Like if you refresh, are you signed in?
I'm signed in.
See what happens when you curse the mighty Odin?
It looks like it's
Yes.
probably not actually signing. It looks like it's not really signing you in. Oh.
Good. All right. So good, because I was sad that I was going to be done with this project. That's good. One more thing to fix.
Wait a second. This sounds really familiar, though. I think the guys who were implementing the GitHub feature ran into something kind of like this, where it was redirecting them, saying that they were signed in, but then not signing them in. What the hell was the problem? This is where having a good memory could save lots of time. But you're not the first.
Okay, what's probably in this? That's good.
What was the reason?
There's got to be like an after confirmation path. Yeah. Oh, weird. After confirmation is currently blank. I mean, in the default.
Probably defaults to something else.
Well, in the devise documentation, after confirmation is a protected method, but it doesn't. It just says define after confirmation end.
Yeah. So, trying to think, why would it sign you in, but then not sign you in? The flash message is persisting across. Anyways, so if you go to your server log, you should be able to see something about what it's doing.
Oops, I just logged recently. Okay, so here's where clicked confirmation. Confirmation token redirected to, it's redirecting to the sign-in page. Completed 302. Huh. Yeah, so for whatever reason, it is redirecting to the sign-in page. Well, obviously, that's what it just did.
This makes me curious.
Okay.
Because you're not actually signed in. Golly, what the heck was the issue?
Okay. I just tried modifying the controller. I kind of think it's going to crash and burn, but I'm going to try it again anyway. Ah, dang.
What was the dang? It looked like you were signing. Oh, I see.
permission. Okay. Wouldn't it be great if there was an automated way to test this?
Yeah, I know, right?
Make a gem.
Oh, seriously? Oh yeah, I could also just write a test, but being a dork. Alright, well that's okay. I could just sign in as a new user and do the same thing. Because both times we were dropping it, we were ending up at that same page, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jesse 5. There's just a lot of songs.
Sweden.
I think that looks more Norwegian.
No, Icelandic. It's the name of that volcano that erupted back in 2008.
Your account was successfully confirmed.
Oh! Wait, we really are logged in.
No, you're not.
No, but if okay, so here you're now signed in. If I hit curriculum, oh, but nope, not logged in. Yep, you're right. Okay.
So what is the problem? It's like it's resetting your login status. Why is it resetting your login status? Devise, dirty devise, what are you doing?
Okay.
So at some point,
think for a second. Nope, that's not it.
shoot, it's almost like I think the Austin guys dealt with this and then moved on from it. Like
Okay.
I think that it hurt them deeply for like 2 days.
Did they figured it out though, right?
Yeah, they had something. What the heck was the issue? They ran into it when they were doing the GitHub login, which I thought it was an OmniAuth issue, but it sounds like it was a Devise issue. Because it shouldn't tell you that you're signed in when you're not signed in. But it seems like you're actually being signed in, and then somehow it's being expired or something.
Can you
How do you track?
sign in and then be taken, I don't know, be redirected to a site where you're not signed in? Does that make any
Well,
sense?
you should have the same cookie in your browser or the same session thing.
I wonder, would it make a difference that I have two different browsers going, and then one the person is signed in, and then the other they're not?
The two browsers
Shouldn't,
share
right?
cookies. I mean, if they're both Chrome, it should share cookies.
Well, my default is Safari, so when the test email pops up, it pops up in Safari, but Chrome
Try
is what I'm actually
refreshing the
using.
browser, maybe.
But if it says, I mean, like regardless, if the flash message says you are now signed in, then at some point it was signed in, and then the current user got wiped out. ¿Por qué?
Oh, so yeah, I don't know.
¿Por qué?
I see that they're redirecting. Yeah. Well, they're just saying if they're adding that, then redirect. But I noticed that they created a new controller that was going to extend the device controller, and I wonder if that was part of the reason.
The Devise folks, or the Austin folks doing the GitHub thing?
Yeah. But they have a lot more going on than just redirecting in that controller.
Let's see, sign in and redirect. So in theory, so what happens if you try to change? Did you already override that the redirect path for after things are confirmed? Remember that method, the blank method? Did you override that?
Yeah, I tried overwriting that in just the user's controller, and it didn't have any effect. I think I would actually have to create a confirmations controller, like they did the OmniAuth callbacks controller.
Mm-hmm.
I think what I would have to do is create a new confirmations controller, extending devices confirmations controller, and then basically plug that method in and tell it where to redirect. I can do that real quick. Where did see? Okay. So app/controllers/confirmations. Is it? Yeah, snake case. Confirmations controller.rb. This could get really messy really fast, just so you know.
Yeah, what I'm really curious about is like where exactly, like what exactly is the chain of events that's occurring?
Right.
I kind of want to, I almost want to put statements in everything.
Do that too. Wow, that's fun.
Oh yeah, it's about to get rowdy.
Just the courses path.
It doesn't. I mean, yeah, it doesn't matter.
But you're right. We'll still have to figure out why they're.
Well, you could put a put statement in there at the very least, just to see if it gets called. You can see your server logs when it gets done.
Right.
That's seriously how I end up debugging a whole bunch of stuff.
Do you just do puts like I don't know, puts what?
I usually put like puts \n a bunch of times to get like a new line, and then I'd say like after you got to do backslashes.
Oh.
Because it gives you a bunch of new lines. And then I'd be like, whatever, like after confirmation reached or something. This is like stage one. Is I want to like know what the status is, and maybe even output like the current user or something.
Okay.
Like current user.inspect or something. And that way I know if the current user is actually set at that point, or if it's already been lost.
Got it. Okay.
Hugo was wondering, do we typically do live debugging and fixing?
No, sorry. Oh, sorry. I should.
No. Well, we tend not to in the weekly ones usually, but at this point, this seems like it's the last story that we have. If you have questions, you're absolutely welcome to ask. It seems reasonable and okay that we'd go down a rabbit hole here. But
Okay.
it probably makes sense. It probably makes sense to tell everyone, like, hey, this is going to be a little bit of a rabbit hole. I don't know. If you're not interested in listening to this, then feel free to ask questions, or it's not part of our regularly scheduled programming. For what it's worth.
Okay, so it doesn't appear that it got called at all.
Okay, well, so check your server log. It might have actually gotten called and then overridden. And, like something else could have come after it. Let's see. So what do we have there? Update users. So is the user actually registered as confirmed right now in the database?
Yep.
Interesting.
Okay, so confirms the user redirected to user/sign-in, and then started user sign-in.
What was the flash message? What did it say? I want to do a search through Devise's code.
I'm sorry, what does the what say?
What does that flash message that you get say? Like, thanks for confirming your account or something?
Oh, that's...
Oh, it's like successfully confirmed.
Yeah, your account was successfully confirmed. You are now signed in.
Concern.
Okay, it's very obvious right now I'm not going to get that right over the course of the evening. This
You
is
just need to say it 10 times in a row.
weird.
Yeah.
I can do a binding pry in here, right? Actually, just talking to myself.
Huh. Wait, what does it say? Didn't it say, wasn't it like a double one? Didn't it say your email has been successfully confirmed, you are now signed in or something?
No,
Yeah.
if you didn't receive, you're talking about if you didn't receive token.
No, we're talking about the message
Yeah.
that
okay.
it gives after you sign in.
Yeah, I'm talking about the message because I'm trying to search through Devise's source code to figure out where that message originated, so I can start to piece together the chain of events that led to it. Hmm.
Oh, on Stack Overflow, they're doing what I just did as far as creating the new class, confirmations controller class, and overriding the show method. Weird. Oh, I'm sorry. Never mind. They're talking about something else.
Yeah, I'm looking at the show right now. Respond with navigational resource, redirect to after confirmation path 4. After confirmation path 4. Resource name, resource. If signed in, view session path. But it was that combo message. It's really interesting. Okay, so I guess it is. It's combining two different flash messages. It's combining the one that you get once you've successfully confirmed with the one that you've signed in with. And they were like literally part of the exact same string. That also was interesting to me.
Okay, let me show you two things just in case. In the route, one thing that I added was this get confirm email, and
I actually can't see your screen share anymore. Oh, no, I got it.
Okay. So I added this line, get confirm email, and send that to the users, send confirmation link. And the reason that I did that was so that previously registered users could click on a link and it would automatically send that email and just be really nice and smooth, because otherwise Devise's method, when you click on their default, it pops up a box where you have to enter your email address, which I thought was dumb, because if you just signed into a website, like, you don't want to enter your email address again to get the confirmation link. So I added this so that it would just be a new method, a new controller method sending that link, and then in the controller, it had it send the email and then redirect back to the courses page so that it's really unobtrusive. You just right back where you started. So I don't think that's having any bearing on things, but I wanted to show that to you in case it is messing things up.
I wouldn't expect so. I think this just has to do with the regular flow of things. And by the way, when I look at Devise's source code, the after confirmation path 4 method is definitely not blank.
Oh, where's that?
It has an if then. It has an if else. I guess maybe I can change my screen share. Let's see. Where are you, DYs? Confirmations controller. This is what I see right now.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, is, it's really simple.
Okay. Well.
But so I'd be just curious to know if this even gets hit.
Right.
And again, like with more of those put statements or something. So I can see why people want to override these and just be like, goodness gracious.
But yeah, if this is working as expected, signed in root path, so that should take us to the courses path, right? Because that's the after sign in path.
So actually, do you mind if we zoom out for a minute and kind of like write that down and I don't know, bookmark it, I guess. I want to make sure that we cover kind of everything else too. So like, now we know that that's, I don't know, I guess you call it a bug. But I'm curious to know some of the other aspects of the flow that you put together there.
Oh yeah, sounds good.
So let's assume once you've I think you're on, aren't you? Oh, yeah.
I just turned it off.
Let's assume that you've signed in.
Okay.
Or let's assume that works.
Okay, so just kind of the flow of how the code works.
Yeah, or if there are additional interactions as well. It's like let's see, what would happen if I'm a user? What happens if I haven't signed up or I haven't confirmed my email more than, what is it, like 48 hours or something that you have a grace period?
Yeah. That point, I didn't mess with any of Devise's built-in stuff. So I'm assuming the device at that point says, hey, sorry, you have to confirm your email before you log in. And I haven't done any testing for that because I just kind of felt like that was a built-in device thing, but I can if you'd like.
Yeah, why don't we give that a shot? Let's see. So I don't know if they do it off of the created at date on the user's account, or if they have a separate created at date on the email confirmation token, which I suspect they also do. I'm not sure which one that they would use, but you should be able to just go on your command line and just make those dates for one of your newly created users, like 3 days earlier, and then we can see what that user is going to see. So that's basically I signed up, forgot about it for a week, and then came back to it case.
Right. Okay. So.
I'm going to interrupt real quick. I actually have job setting up tomorrow. I guess it's my first day, so I got to go to bed because it's late here.
All right. Yeah, of course.
So I'll write down all those things about the profile page test and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
And then I should be here tomorrow, I guess.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool. Well, so will I.
Out early.
All right,
Thank
you
you
too.
too.
Cheers. Oh, forgetful.
Okay, so then created at 14-03, so like a month ago. And then do you also want to see if sorry, I'm looking for where it says.
There you go. Oh no. Oh, you have confirmation sent at. That's what it's called. Confirmation. It's like the bottom line or second to last line on the right.
Cool. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Hugo, the rest of us, I'm on the West Coast. Abby, I think you're on Central Time?
Yep. Okay, so here I am logging in a month later when I did not confirm. And you have to confirm your account. That's annoying. They should have
That is annoying.
link. Oh, didn't receive confirmation instructions. Is that really good user experience though? If it's nagging you here and it's giving you this here?
There should be a link to resend.
Yeah, I mean, so there is, but it's at the bottom of the page instead of being up here with the notice.
Right, it should totally be in the notice.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start an Evernote here for myself so that I can fix these things.
Isn't it funny how it's like the edge cases just kind of spiral?
Yeah. Actually, that works. Okay, so...
Like, as long as you follow exactly in the lines of what Devise wants, you're usually okay. But who wants that?
Yeah. So much for trusting the black box of the gem, too.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I guess I'll stop the broadcast here since we're at the hour mark, and we're just kind of working on some debugging stuff.
Oh, sounds good.
So thank you, world. If you're with us this far, you should join us in person next time. We'll be back next week and every day also at 6 o'clock. So just you can go to, let's see, what's this? Google. These things. We have a Google community called Team Odin, where we kind of manage all this stuff. So if you're curious, check that out, and you'll see all the daily events as well, or at least you will if I remembered to post them more than a half hour in advance. All right, so cheerio.